And that's one thing too that I had to learn the hard way. I'm not good enough, which that's your pride that's getting in your way. And then as you remove yourself from that, you remove yourself from so much more, and you are able to do what God has called you to do. And that for me is take care of kids, right? Yeah. Like I love when I'm able to tell this, because you say it over and over. My job is to do chiropractic and talk chiropractic.
That's it.
And that is it.
All right, chiropractors and chiropractic students, welcome to the Family Practice Podcast. You know, the one you've been waiting way too long for, because this podcast will actually stay focused on chiropractic. Not only what it takes to get world-class clinical results for kids and families in your community, but also what it takes to build a legendary, incredible family practice that takes care of your family way beyond your dreams. I'm Dr. Tony Ebel, and I'll be joined by Dr. Matt Hill, Dr. Ellie Wright, Jackie Jacobowitz, and incredible guests, chiros, associates, CAs, all these folks making massive impact around the world. We're going to cover everything: pediatrics, perinatal, family practice. This is the podcast you've been waiting for, because moms and dads and families have always needed us. Now they're finally ready for us. I hope you're ready for the Family Practice Podcast. Let's go. All right, chiros and chiropractic students, here we are again. The Family Practice Podcast is going to roll on, and we are going to jam with Dr. Adam Black. Now, I'm not going to steal the thunder from this interview, because he goes through it. He goes through the practices that he started in different states than he is now, and in different seasons of practice than he is now, with different mentorship than he has now. And you'll see that the ones prior did not go well at all, but you'll see that Adam did not go quietly into the night. Adam stayed the course, called by purpose. And when he really found it, when he found his model, the perfect aligned family practice model that is right for him, you'll see that he's crushing it. I mean, we're talking, I think they had 58 new patients on the books. My clearest excitement within the profession is for the Adams out there and the soon to be Adams out there who are going to start your practice with this model, because he didn't necessarily have it. He didn't come right from school into this family practice PX model, but he got there pretty soon. And especially with this new practice that he's going to tell us all about, he had a clean, pure, perfect path to know that this was going to work. But what you do is you follow the plan, you follow the model, you follow the path, and it is proven. And now Dr. Adam Black has proven that he is a leader of this movement within the world and within the profession. He is now proud dad to two beautiful kiddos, and his brilliant wife, Cassandra, who runs the practice with them and is just a rock star mom of rock star moms, an incredible world changer. We know Adam and Cassandra really well. We think the world of them like you wouldn't even believe. And Tiffin Family Chiropractic is there as that beacon of hope and light for families in that community. I can't wait to jump into Adam's story. Let's go. All right. Let's see. Sounding like Matthew McConaughey to kick off this one officially. I do not drive a Lincoln. Don't worry. I don't think Lincoln makes a truck. So
it's one of my favorite movies anyway.
It's a fantastic movie.
It's a good
it's
one.
so many references. In fact, you know, you're in the move. We're going to get to this towards the end of this podcast episode here, Dr. Adam Black. But one of the things we do with our doctors, our young intern and associate doctors, for them to graduate into excellence, we write down all these different movies on the whiteboard. You've seen it.
Yeah.
You haven't you in the back office there at PwC? Dazed and Confused, Dumb and Dumber, Old School, Saving Silverman. That's a diamond in the rough. Major League. Major League is a must.
Right.
And they have to watch these videos and essentially do a verbal report. Not a book report. We should have them do that. Write a paper on it. And then they're allowed to, see patients.
Right. It was funny because when I was in there for that immersion, I was looking through it. I was able to check that box. I was like, I could intern here.
Why we could talk about your certainty and your communication skill set, but now I finally, right out of the gates on this podcast, we know what's made you elite.
Yes.
And that is your 1990s movies references or further back. Okay, awesome. So this podcast, as always, is going to bring home growth strategies to principled, neurologically focused family chiropractors and humor at the same time. Because good Lord knows we love what we do. It is a blast. It is so fun. It is so fulfilling. And there's difficulty to it as well.
Yes.
And so if you don't have humor, you don't have joy, you don't have at least a little bit of sarcasm what you're doing this for, and your patients will love it too. So, Dr. Adam, I don't know this part of your story, where we're going to begin. I need info from you as to, and we're not going to go all the way back to your chiropractic story like most podcasts. I actually want to make this real relatable to chiropractic students in chapter 1.
Yeah.
When you were a chiropractic student, did you have certainty? Did you have clarity? Did you have conviction in chiropractic? And if yes, what sparked it? And if not, tell us that story.
Yeah,
School.
Cool. So I will just answer with a definite absolutely not. Because I had no idea what I was getting into with chiropractic. Because my story was my chiropractor helped me during basketball. So I was like, great, this would be fun. I'll be able to do that. And so it's funny because I just spoke to Kansas City club, PX club there. And I told them like kind of where all this started. And it was at the end of finals after try 3, because I've been judged on my grades my entire life. Oh. So I come into chiropractic school, and I'm like, I got to get all A's, all A's, all A's. Made it through the first year, got to try 3, and everybody's like hooping and hollering after they got done. I looked, and I thought to myself, is this it? Is this chiropractic? And I knew that wasn't. So like I started diving in a little bit more. It's like there was always been this like pediatrics on my heart, but I didn't know where.
You didn't know where to go get it.
No.
It's not very clearly, there's not a lot of signage that directs us in that direction. Well, back then, but before PX.
Exactly. So that's where like I started Googling people. So like Dr. Jeannie Ohm.
Oh, yeah.
And then Dr. Drew Rubin.
Heck yeah.
And then believe it or not, dude, you before PX.
Pre-beard?
Yeah.
Those pictures, I can't believe people let me exist without a beard. Yeah.
But it was cool because I saw you spoke at you spoke at Focus, OKC, that day. So like that was when a lot of things changed for me, and I started to dust off those green books in the library and started to listen to Reggie Gold and all this.
So you're still a student at this time?
Yeah, yep, 100%. This was try 4, so like I'm just starting my second year. So this is where it all began. So I got all the information, and I went to all these seminars and adjusting seminars, principal seminars, all of it. And it was so good. But this is the one thing that I would say again and again. It's like building the building. Gave me all the materials, but never the tools. Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. So this was growing on the inside. Maybe this is not the clearest of ways to say it, but my interpretation right now is you had chiropractic, fire, certainty, science, pediatrics. I mean, Jeannie Ohm was so pivotal to me. You didn't, I don't even know that you needed to listen to that wonderful woman's words. You just needed to be in her sphere of impact, and she was going to make sure you saved babies. I wish, it was funny how different her seminar was from the other 15 I took, and the other ones were great, but the fire that she brought to the table it's hard to repeat, And anyways, so you had it literally boiling up on the inside, but you didn't. Here's a perfect reference. But were you Ricky Bobby after he won his first race? You didn't know what to do with your hands. You didn't know how to bring it on the outside.
No idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened? What direction did you go from there?
So then a group of friends. It's funny because there's 4 guys. So super unorganized, but we started
That's a good point.
We started the Family Wellness Club at Logan because it went away. And then we brought it back, and we had no idea, but we knew that we tried to get people to speak from Dr. Drew Rubin was there, and it just started to expand from that, which then allowed us to keep on furthering into that. And I always knew that it was in a population that was very underserved because it was never talked about, especially in school.
Not even
especially in school. And then you had those one chiropractors that would pull you off to the side after class and be like, you're doing. Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yes, exactly. So there was a lot of politics into that. So I go through school. I had did the pediatric internship with one of the peds doc there, and it was great. And then I head into my internship, and this is one thing that was unique is I learned a lot from my internship, but I also learned a lot of what I didn't want to do.
It's an important list, and it might outrank in importance at that juncture, which is why I love, this is the chronology of the podcast interviews always. We get to be going down these roads, and we should be formulating 2 distinct lists. I actually think you could have 2 notebooks, a green one, green is good, and a red one, red is bad. Right. Stop, warning, or orange maybe, at least 100%. Warning. So what percentage was it? Was it more of what not to do than to do?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did that continue from your internship? Because I know where it ended up, but I don't know this part of the story. I don't know where it started and how that became, because then you graduated and started to work.
Graduated. I had what I was told, like one of like the best coaches in the world, and he helped me a lot with my mindset.
Yeah.
But when it came to practicals, it was really, really hard. So like, this is old school marketing, but one of the things he told me to do is go because I was new to the place. So I'll back up a little bit. Once I graduated from chiropractic school, I went to Burlington, Vermont. I took a road trip about my third year of school, and I just wanted to go see the Northeast. So I landed in Burlington, Vermont.
Big Vermont guy, huh?
Yeah. It was more
so
about...
now you're, in 43 years, you're the first big Vermont guy I've met now.
It was more because I was like young, dumb, and free.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Sorry, Vermonters. I've never been there. I'm sure it is absolutely glorious and wonderful, especially in the fall.
It is. It really is. But it was just like one of those things. Like I had no direction, so I just was like, great. You know what? I was told I can go and open up anywhere, and that is the truth. But you have to have the right tools. And so one of the marketing tactics that he recommended is that I go and door to door, and I handed out flyers. I handed out 12.
And this is your practice, or no? You're working for?
No, this is my practice.
You started so out of school. You started in Vermont.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And I went and knocked on 1,200 doors, handed out 1,200 flyers. Got one patient show up from it.
Sweet little baby, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was tough. And then 5 weeks later, we hit with the global pandemic, and I was in a place where I knew no one, and no startup, nothing. Like it was rough.
So this is 2020.
This is 2020.
Okay. So you graduated what, end of 19?
Yep, August of 19, and then moved out to Vermont in November, and then March happened, and then I stayed out there until May, and then I also had some family health issues too. With my mom.
Yeah.
So then I also made that. It was twofold. It was kind of like I was running away, but also running towards.
Yeah, dude, for sure. The values in the details is the best phrase I think we can say. What was the funding for your original practice? And were you going for everybody? Clearly you were knocking on doors. So you had Pediatrics Family Wellness. You started a club and took all the extra onus to do that. Mm-hmm. But did that start to fade away? Because you're like, well, you probably got advice, which is what I got, which is, because I think I know where you got the advice now. And, is, hey, we're here to serve everyone. Everyone has a nervous system. Everyone has a spine. It's worse. Everyone with a spine. So you were going everywhere. So you had no niche, no brand. But what about funding and just bootstrapping it?
No. So I went to the local branch of like the SBA, and
it
took me in a direction towards someone more local.
Yeah. They work kind of. The SBA comes to life through certain banks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So I did that, and then and that's the one thing too. And that's why I want
to go here, because funding is a huge question, because we're making this podcast for students. It's like 3 podcasts in one. We're talking about students and startups, and then growing and scaling and kind of going through the whole journey. Yeah,
right. And that's why I'm super excited to be a part of this, because I can speak to that
for sure.
And that's why I love talking to other chiropractors who just started. Like, dude, I've been there. Let's see what I can.
Let me give you both notebooks.
Yes,
totally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was told to keep it small.
Okay.
I was told to keep it small.
Okay.
Just get by with your overhead. You can run everything. You take your phone calls. You do that, and then you build your way to that, or like earn your way to it.
Do you remember what size your office was? How much space? And
1,600 to start.
Okay, that's pretty. Yeah.
It was good. It was a good place, but
it's a lot of room for a one-man show.
Yes.
Get a little lonely in there.
Sure was. Yeah. Actually, it's funny because I took pallets. Gosh, it's so redneck.
Yes.
But I took pallets and I sanded them all down and I varnished them, and then I made these little T tripods. So I put tables on each side.
Look rad.
Oh yeah. I fit right in with there.
You're not doing that in the new space?
No.
Let's go. Come on, pallet the heck out of that sucker. All right, not yet. We can upgrade this thing. All right, okay.
I'll go with shiplap.
Yeah, true. Dang it. The shiplap has replaced some rednecks with our pallets. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Dang you, Chip Gaines and Joanne. Actually, that's Joanna's fault. It's not Chip. Chip does what he's told. He's a good husband. I was just about
to say that. I really was. But the way that I calculated out is I took out, I'll just be real numbers. Do. I just took out $40,000.
Okay.
And it was not enough.
Yeah.
It was not enough. It was not enough, especially in a time where there was no one coming in.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why, again, I love being able to tell my story, because I was just able to speak to another chiropractor this weekend of like, dude, this is my third practice.
For sure.
My
For
third
sure.
practice.
In a short amount of time. Real great lessons learned. And y'all listening out there, you know, the other thing that this podcast is for every principled chiropractor who wants to go forward, grow forward, and serve more kids and families and bring them life. And we all start different places, then we end up different places. But this is about moving forward. And so I love that we're going to have different interviews with different stories, because where you are now might be one of the places where Adam got stuck, got lost, got broke, got burnt out, and had to start over, right? And so, okay, so you go to Ohio to go take care of family. That was, and what was the practice plan? What was, okay, so that's V1 practice.
Yes.
What was V2?
V2 was find a place as soon as possible, not knowing what the size looked like. Went to like 900 square foot, and I was like, that's perfectly fine. Lowballed myself again, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna less. So East Coast is high price, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I moved to Columbus, Ohio, live with my sister, and I was like, great, I'll get this started. I'm saving on rent, saving on everything, so why don't we just start even lower?
Yep.
So I started off with like a $30,000.
Swung the pendulum in the other direction.
Correct. Yep. And then instead, it took me one day. I went and knocked on doors, and I had 3 right in a row slam the door right in my face. And I was like, I think I'm going to go on social media.
I don't even have, which is amazing for me to be speechless, but I currently, because yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was well-intentioned advice, I will say.
Yeah,
that.
understood.
Because it got, I don't even want to say that it got things moving, but like the thought was there. It just wasn't complete.
Well, you know what? Back in the day, these strategies, we just said this to somebody this morning at a seminar, and I'm going to get there one day, so I'll have to be appropriately providing my advice to the appropriate audience. But if a brand new student in a startup is learning the strategies that built a practice 30 years ago, the chances that now, some of those strategies they've been around for thousands of years, and it's how God designed this world, and it's, there's a lot of transferable things, and then there's a list that isn't, because we can even just clarify this one, super simple. Starting a practice before the internet and social media is a vividly different plan than after. And yet still today, some students are just so nervous and so green and so not sure, and they get access to these mentors. And these mentors also just never updated their practice, right? Because they put it on cruise control. And so they didn't need to continue to market. They probably sold it to you as like, well, that's what's awesome. I have a waiting list practice. You definitely want to learn from me. No, if you have a waiting list practice, that means you don't know how to run a business, because you shouldn't have a waiting list, because you should scale your business, and always, anyways, different conversation for a different day. And so the truth is, you deploy these outdated strategies, and it's well-intentioned. I love that. So this time it only took you a day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then you shifted to
social media. So I was like real far to the left of like going door to door, shaking hands, kissing babies and things like that. And then it was like, you know what, now I'm just doing everything technology. Okay. Like I'm doing videos, I'm having some people like post for me. Like I reached out to like a social media marketing agency, and they took care of that. Paid thousands of dollars a month for low grade content. Yeah. Because they didn't understand what I was trying to do.
So it became general chiropractic?
Very, very general. Very general. So like the drive was there was no quality. Yeah. There was no quality.
Did patients so how did that version 2 practice go? What kind of volume? Let's stay in the details with it. What kind of volume, what kind of growth happened?
If I had to guess, I was probably seeing like 75 a week.
Okay. Yeah. And about what did it take to get you there, if you remember, ballpark?
I probably topped out right at about 10 months, and that was right when I did another transition.
Yeah.
I did the other transition.
What was the unbelievable mentorship and human who helped you make the transition to V3?
Man, so this is where that incredible human being is my wife now. Yeah. So we got engaged, and I knew that I was not being able. I could support myself, but I could not support my family. Yep. So then I made the decision to work with an associate. Yeah. And they said all the right things. Yeah. They were doing some of the right things, but it fell short. It was a trip before the finish line. It really was. And again, great people. They helped me in a time where I needed that help, but it then just served me more of, this is not what I want to do. Yeah. This is not what I want to do. So then I was there for about a year then. It was very pain-based. They talked spinal cord and brain, but like but the delivery wasn't there. Like, and there's nothing wrong with x-rays.
No.
There's definitely nothing wrong with x-rays, but when you're coming from a neurologically focused chiropractic perspective, you're not looking at the structure. You're looking at what's underneath that, because that's the
at least in addition to.
Absolutely. So I remember I was scrolling through on Facebook, and I see one of your videos, man. And it was another one of those like gut checks for me. I was like, man, is this just another gimmick? Like, is this just like another thing that's going to happen?
Is it just said but not delivered?
Yes, but I've gone through it. But then it was when I talked to other people. So you know how like parents vet us?
Great point.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I did that, and I reached out to other chiropractors.
So is that where Dr. Luke, so when did Dr. Luke come in the picture?
Oh, gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So cool. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because I reached out to a few others, and then when I was selling stuff for my practice, Dr. Luke came and bought one of my tables.
Okay.
And he still uses that table today.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love seeing the picture on like,
totally.
Instagram
Absolutely, right?
So that led to it, and then I quit my job, and then I actually had lunch with Dr. Luke.
Cool.
And because he did a podcast just like this, and said the very similar story. And I remember sitting there.
It wasn't the same practice, was it? Or same group of practices? No. Okay, all right. No. Because he did literally have the same stories in that version.
I remember, like, and I'm just, like, I was emotional at that time. I was like, dude, like, there's someone else who went through this, and now they're here.
Yeah.
So I hunted him down. I went and asked him if we could have a lunch someday, and we did. And we started chatting, and he started just explaining so much that made so much more sense to me as things went along. And then I quit, and I was like, Dr. Luke, so this is what I'm doing. I'm joining PX. I'm going to get things rolling here. And I was like, I do still need to be adjusted for sure. Because in this time too, my wife got pregnant with our beautiful daughter, Anna.
Yeah.
So now we're in a waiting period.
Yes. Sir.
And like we couldn't move. We planned to have a home birth and everything. So then that would just made me stick in Columbus even more.
Cool.
And it's really good that we're bringing this up, because that felt like a burden to me, but it isn't, because now I see why Dr. Luke was brought into my life. And then I remember going to his office to get adjusted twice a week, and I come with questions.
What a wonderful experience. You go as a patient. Yes. You're just taking that part of life to take care of your health and your family.
Yep. And I just remember being like, like, I know you do PX, so like, is it cool if I just would love to come get adjusted? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And it's just like the full-on just generosity of Dr. Luke for sure, but like that's what PX is.
It is.
Through and through.
It is. Yeah.
And I remember he's like, don't pay. Like, I want to take care of you. Like, I've had plenty of people help me in my day. So I'm glad to be able to do that for you too. And then it came down to like, we were about to leave because Anna was born, and then we were about to leave and go back home to start practice.
And how far away is that, just distance-wise?
About an hour and a half.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Enough, though. You got to move. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So we're moving closer to home, closer to family, and everything. So it was good. But I remember asking, like, I was searching for another mentor. I was searching for another mentor, and I looked in one direction, and I felt it immediately. I was like, this is not it. So I shift over, and I'm talking to Dr. Luke. And I was like, I'm just really looking for a mentor. Like, has Dr. Tony brought up like any of this? Like, is there mentorship involved with PX yet? And he's like, I don't think so. He's like, but if you want, I can help you out. And I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, cool. Just let me know how much it's going to cost. Like, whatever. He's like, nah, this is what I live for.
Yeah.
And when he said that to me, like, I just got those chills.
That is Luke. Yeah.
And when he said that to me, it just changed my whole perspective. And I knew that talking with him monthly, and it sucks because I haven't talked to him in a long time. But that then just solidified again and again of the mission.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything. And so my job here, as I say this on every episode, my job as a podcast host is to go and pull this stuff out. And then when we get this gold that Adam is sharing, then intentionally, redundantly stated to you again, so you can make sure, you're driving, you've got your chiropractic student, and you're pretending to pay attention in biochemistry class, and hopefully you got your AirPods out. You know what I mean? And you're like, okay, good. That's so. Like, what do I do with this? I've thought about this in the podcast. How do I make sure you pull take-home implementationable, I'm making up a word, content from this? Ask. You only need a 3-letter word for this part of the podcast right here. Ask, and then what are you asking for? Help. mentorship, guidance.
Yes.
You don't know squat as a startup. I didn't. And when you ask, now if I can add a more detailed experience, I took a lot of wrong turns so that I can be a better wrong turn, sign holder for a lot of you guys, right? To be able to say, as you are now too.
Yep.
Ask for help and then be choosy in the mentor that you're asking for help. Whether you get the blessing of free like Luke did, whether you're paying for it, you're buying the book, you're buying the course, you're buying whatever, be choosy. And the way you can know that you chose best is go in there. So Adam took not only himself, he took his most important human in his life, his beautiful wife in there who was pregnant. So he took his two girls in there to get adjusted and said, let me receive this to make this kind of care, this kind of experience, to make sure that I want to bring this back home to my family. So your choice of direction now came with certainty, clarity, and quite a bit of simplicity, actually, because all the other crap was out of there.
Very much. And I think what you're also speaking to, the whole wrong turn, it's ignorance tax.
Yeah, dude.
It's ignorance tax. And that's where, I'm so excited to be able to talk about this, because, if this helps one person realize, you can cut corners in a good way to get here, to find that right mentor. It's unreal. And that was the other thing too, you talked about the confidence and the certainty. As soon as Anna was born, I adjusted her at 4 hours old. Yeah. And I was watching videos up until that, and I wouldn't have been able to do that unless it was for those videos. Yeah. So then I'm getting her adjusted daily, if not every other day. And then she goes and gets a scan at Dr. Luke's, and he lays the scan down. And he's like, she's a chiro baby. Yeah. Which, dude, my head just there it is. And I don't want to use the word ego, but my certainty, my confidence, it was just somebody hit that thing at the fair and it just shot up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I was...
You need that.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious. I found my first level of certainty, and so did you, watching videos of, Dr. Chestnut, Dr. Dan Murphy, Dr. Fletcher. If you've watched any of our trainings, you know that and same with Adam, being a small town Midwesterner, I need to always tell you who taught me. The naming of mentors matters massively. You just get to hear how Adam just lit up thinking about his experience with Luke. And so those who have been mentored like we have, it becomes an obsession. It becomes a responsibility to share that mentorship, share those lessons, the good and the bad, with everybody else, and then share the reverence and respect and appreciation. And I think it's important to say it by name. My number one thing that perturbs me is when I can tell somebody learn something from somebody else, and they should. Don't be afraid to model and borrow from others, and they don't give credit. I immediately lose respect for that person. It's just not something I can do. So anyways, that's one of the many things I love about you. In those mentorship opportunities, you need something that validates it. You need, and so for me, I had certainty. I had a successful practice. I had read all the science in the green books, and I was on fire as a chiropractor, but I was definitely more movable, most likely, when challenged by a pediatrician or a neurologist or a comment on Facebook at that time, until Oliver. And Oliver became, and I don't even know if validation is the right word, but that spark, that I love the county fair analogy of ding, there it is. And so you became unstoppable, even more so in that moment. So let's go into it. So then you started a PX practice. Yes. So this version you run and are scaling now, and we'll get to scaling at the very end. Yeah. This version, so let's go 12 months, and then we'll break apart at the 12 months. 1 year into practice, how many were you seeing? What were you collecting? What was the pediatric percentage? Were you taking on tough cases? Give it to us. Let's jump to year one of this new kick-ass fire-breathing dragon practice.
Man. Wow, this is cool. So just give perspective to that too. When we started posting immediately right away, and started getting social media out there. I have very, very much ahead of time. I tell everyone who's starting at least 3 months, and I was pushing them with that. I should have started sooner, honestly. But we started with 35 new patients before I even opened the door. And I never thought it was real. It's like unicorns. You hear people talk about them, but are they real? And oof, it felt like it was real. It was very much real. So then we get to a year in practice, and we're seeing 300, 350 in there, and collecting close to 40 to 50 a month. Yeah. Gosh.
And so
what is so amazing, and like I love talking numbers.
Yep.
But what I love the most about
Yeah, I forced you to go to that. This is what you want to talk about.
Yes,
Yeah, totally.
Is the ROII.
Yeah, buddy.
It's the investment on the impact. It really is, because like, first of all, I wouldn't be there without my team.
Yep, for
Because
sure.
I tried it by myself, and 2 times it didn't work.
Yeah.
2 times it didn't work.
Yeah.
So now I have this incredible team that is there that helps me get to that point so that we are able to then help them.
Yeah, bro.
Right? And then as we pour into our team with finances and then with their health as well, then they're able to pour into our team and our patients, which then is seen from the other side of it. It's cyclical. Like you have to be able to really invest on that impact, because that's what this is really about. And whenever you put people before or profit before people, it's never works out.
No.
But if you put,
you got a short life of success on that one.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I remember I literally said this to Cassandra when I had my second practice in Columbus. I feel like everybody's a dollar sign when they walk in, and
what a miserable life.
It was tough, man. It was so tough, but. That's why I like flipping that script. Like, I'll talk numbers all day, but what I really want people to know is the impact of it is far greater than the numbers that you will ever create.
Some tangible items that we taught, I'll just, because I have the blessing now, like this part of the story I've been blessed to be lock in step with as a mentor and a guide. So Dr. Luke continued, we got on the team. Dr. Luke is a PX guide and mentor and one of our top docs, because his story is very transformational and he just values mentorship and this direction like crazy too. So here's the advice that Adam was given that we will share with you as startups. Post every dang day, multiple times per day. Then analytical people go, well, what should I post? You post the story you get. So you build your personal brand, you build your culture, you bring excitement. Gary Vee calls it just document. You're just documenting the journey. I remember the pictures you guys when you unpacked your insight scans. I remember when the computers got set up. I remember when the front office got done. And I was getting excited for the opening of this practice, right? Yeah. And I'm following along. Well, the community, clearly 35 families were getting very, very excited as well to follow along. And then you post helpful content. You post the same thing that you post now. You post, we call it the 3 I's. So Adam is taught in the 3 I content plan: inspirational, informational, invitational. And you can't do one of the, most chiropractors are either only inspirational. It's like, hey, and just too fruity, but no substance. The information and the education and empowerment is substance, but it works a whole lot better. What does Dan Sullivan say? A spoonful of facts goes down a whole lot better with... Dang it, I don't remember that. I just butchered that one. You can't only say facts. That's it. Sorry, Dan. We'll have him on the podcast and he'll say it better. And so you can't just do science and those sort of things. And then I see a lot of people when they post, they're like, we're open, new patient special. You can't invite only, because that looks like sales. Yeah. So you can write that down. Those are the 3 I's. That was your content plan. And it was quantity and high quality. And then the next thing you did is you had a very specific niche. Yes. You were differentiated with pediatrics, nervous system, and just in today's world, awesomely. And I think I've had a lot to do with creating this problem. When I opened up, I could just say pediatrics, and that was enough. There was no one even pretending to be pediatrics and family. Right. And now there's the nervous system. There's other elements we want to bring to this to really differentiate ourselves with the technology, with the scans, and with those things. But the second core piece of advice, I don't even like to call this second. These were non-negotiables we share with our startups, and Adam was one of our first ones to really go through our startup program and playbook. The non-negotiables are: you start with team. Yeah. You deliver not only high-quality chiropractic care, but your team is in charge of delivering a ridiculously world-class patient experience. That is not the job of the chiropractor. Yes. You are not supposed to answer your own phones. I don't care how broke you are. Okay, you want to stay broke? Answer your own phones. Yep. Do your own finances. Run your own. Some of this for a tiny little bit, but not certain things. Not. Mm-hmm. So you hire at least one CA from the beginning, and you build from scratch a professional, high-end practice, because you're going to take care of kids and families, and nobody's going to bring their baby to a chiropractor practicing in a van down by the river. So that's not a movie, but it's Saturday Night Live. It works. Okay, so it still fits our frame here.
It does.
And you build that high-end practice, and I'll be done here, and we'll go to scaling last here. The amount of confidence conviction and faith and belief, whatever word you want to call it, that Adam and Cassandra needed to do that after 2 or 3 failed attempts. Yeah. That sounds easy. What I just went through, recapping the main tenets of his success in the beginning, that sounds so easy on this podcast. It's real hard when you have to take it from the inside to the outside. So I know mentorship, but is there anything else? And you were in the, nobody has plugged in. Nobody has showed up to these seminars, come to PwC. You make sure that we will pull it out of you. Because in the past you had it in and then it didn't come out. Is there anything else? If a chiropractor is listening and they're like, I actually do have it on the inside. I was in those clubs too. I read the green books too. And I can't seem to take it from the inside to the outside. I didn't plan on this question, but like, what do you feel like now is your secret sauce? Because you now have that. Yeah. What is your secret sauce to take what you're learning and immediately implement it and take action on it?
That's really
right.
That's really good.
Because you're good at it. It's you know, have you deconstructed, or maybe we'll do it live here in terms of like, what is that transfer from the inside to the outside?
It is. I think it's multifaceted. It really is. And what I think has really helped in that confidence and that certainty is the word that you said before, and it is faith. I can't tell you where I was with my faith before. Like it was, I believe in God and the things that brought me to Cassandra, and we are going through this faith journey together. But then to have someone tell the world that like, dude, I'm not healing you. That is way above my pay grade. That is all God. That is what I tell each and every person when they're like, wow, Dr. Adam, like you're really healing me. And like, I appreciate it. Like I'm super flattered when they say that. But I tell them, no, it's actually you are doing a good job because I'm just simply the middleman. Yeah. But your body is healing is because God gave you that potential to heal.
You're the hero in the story. Yeah. And really our design.
That's it. Yeah. So then now we have a full team and everyone is faith-centered. Yeah. Everyone can reach down to those people who are having a hard time because they've been through it.
I think you're absolutely right. It's multifaceted, and then it's a framework, right? PX is a framework and a formula company, and we teach from that. So I want to do this on this podcast too. So the flow of that framework is this, and you may sound what I'm about to say may be like, that's so cliche. Of course they're going to say that. I always make this joke, you know this. How do you think statements earned the title cliche? Right. They are proven over centuries, right? That is a cliche is a good thing. People are trying to be so fancy these days. Like, I'm going to do it my own way. Right. What if your way's dumb? Yes, for sure. What if your way is I'm going to be authentic to myself, authentically struggling, you know? Like, and by the way, the sweet spot is both. You need mentors and a proven model and a system. And then what we love about PX is your practice, baby. It's a PX practice, but it's Adam and Cassandra. You know, it has your personality to it. Yes. And it's beautiful. So anyways, the formula to put it into action immediately and effectively is it has everything to do with them first. Yes. Are you impact driven and are you faith driven? Because when you are impact and faith driven, actually what begins to happen is you now have an obligation. And you can write that word down, and you're going to need to pray on that one and meditate on that one, because a lot of people think that the best life, right now, especially in culture, it's like, I need my freedom. I need to do me. I need to be me. The best life you can have is a servant life. Yes. One that is literally 100% directed for the impact and the betterment of others. You will never find yourself more happy, more fulfilled, more joyful, more financially fruitful, and you can share that with team members and others. And as long as you put your purpose for them first and what God called you to do, Dr. Adam Black was called to be a PX chiropractor. Yes. God put Dr. Luke Reinhardt in Adam's path to disciple and guide him, and then I got to join on, and everybody got to join on, and there'll be more people coming in our path to do this. And so y'all get out your way. Get out your own way. Yeah. Get out your own dang way and step into that impact and that calling that if you haven't literally moved forward to it in your heart and in your soul first, that's why the mentor, that's why the playbook, that's why the coach, that's why the course hasn't showed up yet. Promise promise you, God will plant that person, that playbook, that course right in front of you once you commit to being about them, not you.
For sure. And that's one thing too that I had to learn the hard way. The ego driven, and then there is the I'm not good enough, which that's your pride that's getting in your way. And then as you remove yourself from that, you remove yourself from so much more, and you are able to do what God has called you to do. And that for me is take care of kids, right? Yeah. Like I love when I'm able to tell this, because you say it over and over. My job is to do chiropractic and talk chiropractic.
That's it.
And that is it. And that is me then getting out of the way. It's the same thing when you're taking care of a kid and adjusting them. I've had several kids where they're really, really tough cases. And if I go in there with a mindset that I'm going to get this done, I'm going to heal them, it goes south so quick. But if I go in there and I know that Lord just guide me in this, and based on my experience and what I've training, please lead me to here, and you do the rest.
It's the beautiful thing about being a part of the PX community. Even individually in your practice, you're not going into a single consult, a single report, or a single adjustment alone. You have your training, you have your community, you have your support, you have your team that you built around you that are helping heal that kid by being in that environment and having that too. And that's part of the healing process in a major way, is that faith, that community, that support, that empowerment that they get from non-chiros. And we train our teams to do that. They are literally healing agents like none other. And they put that, that kid's nervous system is put on a T when you're just in that freaking environment, right? You could literally, I say this all the time, when you build a practice correctly and effectively in this way with patient experience, you don't go cheap, you don't go low, you go all out for the betterment of your community. That's why you make that investment, because it's not for you and how much money you can make. You'll make plenty when you go with them. But if we were to walk in, if somebody somehow could if a kid and a mom who are living in the perfect storm of stress, if we could send an HRV, which is a measurement of stress and exhaustion and subluxation, if we could send that to their home and run a pre-HRV before they literally physically come into the office and meet the team and get the experience, and then after they spend just 15 minutes in the office meeting our CAs and being cared for by that team and by that culture, and then we ran another HRV and we still haven't adjusted them, their HRV is better.
Yes.
So I'm isolating that neurology from the patient experience to tell you, if you're a masterful clinician, but you run a horrendous practice and business, and the patient experience is as mid and blah and lame as it could. If you've got no Riz patient experience, I had to. You're limiting the healing. You're not helping the healing. And everything we do, every decision we make, every investment we make, every hire we make, every software we install, every piece of content we make is actually directed towards more healing, more impact.
And it's cool that you brought that up, because I have some awesome friends through this too. That's the other cool thing about this community is you start to...
It's your homies.
It's your gosh, absolutely. Yeah. Ultimate shout out to Dr. Kyle and Sam Grimes, because I know that they're going to be on this podcast very, very soon. And same thing with
You also know that Kyle's really, really mad that he's not here right now.
I know. I know. He said he was really, really jealous.
Big time.
But he is also one of those that is gone before me, and I go to him for questions, and then he's like, hey man, you need to read this book. So I read this book called The Gap in the Gain by Dr. Dan Sullivan. And one thing that was so crucial to me, and that's what you talked about, like with healing, and it's an entire team effort.
Great point.
They talked about I think it's like the British rowing team. They never won a gold Olympic or whatever in however many years, until they made the mindset of every decision that is made, does that make the boat row faster?
Yeah. That's it.
And that's the same thing with practice.
Yeah.
Whatever decision that you made, whether it's financial hardship, is that going to row the boat faster?
Yeah. Do more kids get better.
Let's do it.
Do more kids get better. That is, so we just try, actually that's what we're going to be doing at Brick Builders, is having everybody develop their decision-making matrix. Because most of us, we try and delegate to our team, but we don't let them have the decisions because we don't trust them to make the decisions, because you don't even know how you make decisions, right? And if you make decisions for ego, you make decisions for money, you make decisions for stats, you make decisions so you can go to the next chiropractic seminar with your buddies and be like, oh, we see this many. Yeah. When you go to PX seminars, we share patient stories.
Yeah.
We share, I had to force, I did that that intentionally. The 12 months and what was your numbers? That was your least favorite part of this podcast.
It was.
Interview, right?
Really,
You're like,
really
damn it, he's making me say that. And I would be just as salty if somebody asked me. But if you asked me to be like, oh my gosh, at the county fair, I got to go see Audrey and Tinley, and Audrey was locked into autism, would have never gone to the county fair, but I went to watch her sister show cattle because that is life. I mean, no longer time to describe that whole story, but that's what fuels us. That's what has us. I want to come back, and I love that you went after it because it's so in your soul. I also, when we talk about the utility or the futility of ego and confidence, this is something I'm looking to instill in my kids and in myself and everybody. You can absolutely have certainty, conviction, and confidence while simultaneously having humility.
Yes.
What ego in a non-healthy, non-useful direction is confidence and conviction without humility. And so I many years ago, I was struggling with this myself. I was like, okay, I know I need it for good. Like I can actually help more kids if I continue to grow in my confidence and my certainty. So I wrote down ego and I rewrote it to excessively goal-oriented. And the goals for me are not more money, more kids adjusted. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that fits me. That's a good context for me. And I will tell you, that is what you're really, really, really looking for, is you're looking to maintain your humility, because it will maintain your hunger to learn, to grow, to serve more, to continue to get mentors. Like my number one hunt continually when I go for these next stages and these next goals, the flow and the framework of how I grow is I seek out mentorship first. Yes. I don't even pretend to take my first action to get to action is mentorship. Right.
And I think that's what makes a mentor too, is like they're not willing to stop growing.
That's right.
And I remember the same thing. I remember talking to Dr. Luke when I first started, and he said, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Not even
I don't want to be the big fish in the pond. And that's the same mentality, because as soon as that happens, then you've limited yourself. Yeah. You've limited yourself and you've limited your ability. But if you continue to grow and you have that mindset of learning and learning and learning, and then your mentor has that same thing, it's unstoppable.
I think that might be some of the internal, being real at the end of this, like some of the, I know a part of the percentage drive as to why I needed to start PX and go full bore into mentorship is because I am so afraid. I'm not afraid of it. I so will not coast that getting you to 350 and getting you guys going this fast forces Christina and I to continue to grow. And we love growth so much. This is almost kind of like a giving and receiving, perfect cycle of like, this is awesome. And that's why Brick Builders came to life. You guys need it. You guys absolutely need it. And you were literally going to start throwing rocks through our windows, if we didn't bring it to you. And you're like, you and Kyle, all of a sudden I'm driving down the lane and you two are there with your trucks blocking the lane and you're like, it's time, dude. We're doing this. And I'm like, all right, guys, don't beat me up, So, and I'm a pansy. I'd be pretty easy to beat up. But actually, I'm a little bit ballistic too. You never know. I could just lose my mind. And you're like, how do I corral this?
That's why I brought Kyle along. Because I'd have to get out of the way and Kyle would take care of that.
I love it. Let's not ever find out, but it's fun to theorize on. Okay. Sure. All right. So, we go there. So next up for you with scaling is just extensions of that same concepts that got you there: the certainty, the purpose, the mentorship, the team. What else? Faith. Your formula is going to remain the same to get from where you are to next. What else are you looking to learn? Well, like right now, I know you are so hungry to learn and grow all the time. And maybe it is one of those things and you just want to double tap on it. What are you really hungry to learn next?
To be a better leader.
Cool. Yeah.
That is it. Okay. That is it.
Good.
And that is something that is also continual to like you. People are trusting you to make the right decisions, and I am incredibly blessed to have grown the way that we have. But with that, and it's a Peter Parker quote: "With great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility."
Yeah, totally.
And that's exactly true, because like not only is there a team, but now there's patience, and that is huge. So the more that I learn to be a better leader, the more that Cassandra becomes a better leader too, the more that we are now able to then lead leaders.
So it's everything from
That's
here.
it.
I love that you said the word leadership, and then you said that's it, and that is it. From this point forward, that's it. And most chiropractors don't get there because they don't have enough drive and pull. So learning how to be a certain skilled, adjusting, communication ninja chiropractor, it's really hard. It's really hard. It takes years to master that craft. Yeah. And then you deploy that craft, then learning how to run a business, learning how to market, learning how to use social media, learning how to have team and systems, really, really hard. And then you get to that one, and then it works, and you're successful. And here's why the third stage of our career, I teach this all the time, right? The third stage of our career is entirely, you have your certainty, you have your skill set, you have your communication, you have your marketing, you have it all dialed in. And now leadership just smacks you square in the face, and you have no clue how to do it. There's very, very, very few mentors. There's all sorts of chiropractors in this profession who can teach you how to get to 500 a week and $1 million practice. I mean, they are everywhere. Throw a rock at your Facebook page and somebody's marketing to you. And none of them have grown a team. No. None of them, they're coaches, but a coach can be a coach and not a leader. Right? They can be a one-on-one coach, and they can teach a solopreneur, here's how you individually grow a practice based entirely upon your personality, versus your purpose and your team. And so what we're doing is raising up leaders inside PX, and Adam will be front row learning. You already have been, will be continually doing that. So last question, my man, what is your favorite part of being a PX doc?
Man, there's so many.
What a rude question, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
The whole number thing, right? The change that you get to see other parents witness about their kids. I have so many beautiful stories, and it's hard to just narrow it down to one, but there's one that's specifically that is on my heart often in such a great way is mom brought her 6-year-old daughter in who's not been able to walk, has not been able to talk, or anything. And there was like functional heart stuff going on at birth, and leading into cerebral palsy. And the confidence, the certainty that we received from PX and will continue to have that and gain that led me to not wuss out on a care plan. And when I gave her that care plan, and she didn't blink, and within 2 weeks, when I saw her twice a day, she fell down and pulled herself up, and mom said that she's never been able to do that. And now they hold on to her like this, and she walks into the office. And the whole impact that brings for their family, and then, like you said, with this, the whole humor side of it, now they have to discipline differently because she's moving. They can't just put her in the corner. She moves. Everything. They have to change now how they discipline. So, like, it's such a beautiful...
joy that they're experiencing with that.
Yes.
Though. When they're walking in the office and you look at that parent's face, that's the priceless face. That parent's face is what you're talking about. Yeah, the emotion.
And then it just leads to mom's not pregnant, so now she's in, right? Yeah. Grandma saw wonderful results. They've seen the results there, and that's the other thing too. Like, you can serve whole families.
Oh, for sure.
But she's coming for a specific reason, and it was something that is definitely neurology. She was not coming in because 57 years ago she got her L3 fused together and she's still having pain there. No, she was looking for something much deeper. When you build a PX practice, people literally fill out the paperwork. When you build a PX brand and you market it with like PX Plus and the content machine and everything we do, they literally fill out the paperwork differently. They you know, if they're struggling with stuff, they're going to put it on there, but they will literally write, calm my child's nervous system, get my child out of fight or flight, regulate my child's nervous system. You literally see paperwork filled out by parents who haven't even started care yet in a way that unfortunately a lot of chiropractors wouldn't even know how to fill out paperwork. It's kind of indescribable. Yes, and they appreciate it.
They do.
That's the thing too. I go through and I'm like, so this is the reason why we had you fill out this intense intake form. They're like, yeah, no, we thought it was great because no one has ever asked me these questions. Yeah. And that's how you get to the root cause. That's how you change freaking lives, and it doesn't stop.
That's why we called it the pediatric experience, because we're not only changing the experience, and as parents, I love that that's your heart right now for sure. Not only are we changing the experience of life for that child and their health, and they're going to live literally in full expression, that's the parent's life. The life of a parent is fan-freaking-tastic. It's the one thing that's indescribable, the joy, yes. the love that you experience as a parent. And that is dampened, and that is lessened, and that is interfered with, literally chiropractic pun intended, when your child is subluxated, sick, and in the perfect storm, which means that parent experience is so magnified and expressed at its fullest potential when a child gets adjusted. And every kid's fullest potential is different. And that's all that parent worries about, by the way. Yes. They only worry about my child being at their fullest expressions of potential. So a cerebral palsy kiddo doesn't go through chiropractic care and end up without cerebral palsy. They end up with a much more vibrant, full expression quality of life. And the value of that, they don't bat an eye. Yes. They literally can't wait to get enough of that and tell everybody else about it.
It's the freedom.
It is the freedom.
It's the freedom of it. And I could go on and on about all these stories. And
totally.
every person that's going to step onto this podcast is going to be the exact same way.
That's what fuels us. Yes. That's what fuels us. Every kid counts. It's not just a hashtag. It is literally our cause. It is our calling. It is our directive. And it is our marching orders. And we love it. And we live it. And we do it. And it works. And it's fulfilling. And it's fun. And it's actually super financially rewarding. And it's all the things and more than we could ever describe on a podcast. So if you want more of that, it's real simple. Not only download, subscribe, and share the heck out of this podcast, but simply send us a DM. Find our website. We are very vocal.
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, podcast. You get a hold of us and just reach out to us and say, I want to get do not judge where you are. Yeah. Don't judge whether it's 2 versions that failed or 20 versions that failed, or whether you're a student and you're like, I really appreciate Adam and Tony for showing me all the red flashing lights and the warning signs of the wrong path. Don't knock on doors. Got that? Okay. Don't knock on doors. Don't be everything to everybody. So if you want the clear direction, we've paid all the ignorance tax and we'll save you all of that, which means you will return on that impact and income faster, quicker, better, and bigger, with less stress and more fun than ever before, if PX gets to earn being your mentor and your guide in this journey. And if you found us on this podcast and you need to find out how there's more of that available, reach out to me, reach out to Adam, reach out personally to Adam.
Please.
Reach out. They're like, just like Kyle and Luke have mentored him from the inside out. He will do that for you. I promise you that. So reach out to us, ask the questions. We're here for you. We are here for this profession. We are taking over entirely and replacing the pediatrician who, blames genetics, dismisses parents, doesn't listen, and makes kids sick or not well. We are taking over their position inside healthcare as a whole. So we need to take over chiropractic, specifically pediatric, prenatal, and family chiropractic, with a principled, neurologically focused, driven model. So we are here for you. We need you because they need you. We do this podcast. We do our training. We print our playbooks, and we provide our certification seminars so that we can train you to work through you for them. So I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you sharing, reviewing, and subscribing to this podcast, because the more of you that find this, the more kids find an experienced chiropractic, the more parents find an experienced chiropractic, and we're having quite a bit of fun at the same time as well. Thanks, brother man. Hey, Dr. Tony here, and I wanted to say thank you for listening to the Family Practice Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to the show so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you're looking for more content from us, you can absolutely subscribe to our newsletter, watch exclusive episodes on YouTube, and dive deep into the articles and blogs on our website. All of this is linked in today's show notes. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.